Hello everyone, my name is Almina. I'm the concept author of the faceconomics book and also the faceconomics TV channel, where we discuss things that are of the future and things that are evolving within the world and various marketplaces throughout this planet. Basically, we're not going to be talking about past influences that has nothing to do with progress or anything that would improve and the betterment of society worldwide, and also the capacity of the population in general, regardless what the country or region they're in. So this is a pretty casual type of broadcast. We're just going to basically brainstorm and kind of look towards the progression of the fourth industrial revolution, which is basically the merging of man and machine in improving situational conditions in terms of work capacity to do work, and also influence the betterment of societies worldwide. So that's what this broadcast is going to be about. So typically we upload our videos on YouTube and onto our faceconomics TV channel. So what we're going to be doing different this time around is basically merge our YouTube and podcast broadcast on radio into one. So people can just go ahead and watch our broadcasts on our YouTube channel, faceconomics TV, and get all the content that we produce regarding various projects and updates to certain market conditions around the world, when regarding the utilization of technology and how technology is actually being incorporated in the lives of our various communities and people worldwide. So I want to give a quick shout out to our friends in the Caribbean. We were contacted by a local broadcaster in the Caribbean, and they like our content and they've requested for us to do more. So we're truly very grateful for people that are voicing their interest in our content and encouraging us to produce more, because that shows that we're providing value to the marketplace, and people are actually learning through the faceconomics concept. That's the ultimate goal behind the book and our various channels on YouTube and also radio podcasts. So thank you so much for giving us an update. So anyway, so please drop us a line on the bottom of this comment section for this YouTube video / podcast / radio broadcast. So as you all know, there's a lot of people talking about past issues that has been pretty much recycled on, and it's just like a never-ending story. They keep going back to the past as if it's going to matter 10 to 15 years from now. Most of these issues that aren't really relevant to majority of the population, whatever country you're in, it's just basically creating content that is garbage. These are contents that won't matter down the road. What would matter, in my opinion, and I guess to many people that are looking to prepare for the future and be able to find a way to strategically advance themselves and incorporate that advancement into the marketplace. So the people that are paying attention to world events, people using technology, for example, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, being utilized for capacity building, 3D houses being printed in buildings. These are things that would matter down the road. It really, kind of pushed me against the wall, and it's troubling to me to come across, news that are so superficial and problematic, and it's just creating more problems upon problems. It's like a never-ending problem mill that people are just talking about, and it's, I understand it grabs eyeballs, you kind of, get people to reflect about things that were hurtful or things that, could have been done or dealt with, better in the past. But in all reality, majority of the world population, even here in the country, even in the U.S., our focus is definitely not where it needs to be. Unfortunately, the national media and a lot of these, corrupt politicians keep talking about, same old story. They're majoring in minor things that, they might have grown up in those society, in those kind of situations back in, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, however long might have been. But, the trajectory of the markets and the trajectory of influences within those markets are definitely not moving backwards. If nothing else, they're racing each other to the top. Worlds and countries are, finding ways to advance in terms of their capacity, and they're being influenced by technology. Obviously, social media is a big factor in terms of changes that are happening throughout the world. May it be a good influence or bad, we won't really know until the social media world or the business community that regulates the social media platforms becomes more transparent. I think Facebook is just becoming a platform for a one-party system, and it's becoming a problematic situation for not just only politicians that are running, but I think people that are trying to be educated, because let's face it, people want to know facts. They want to know the truth, and for the longest time, majority of national news coverage are for-profit. They're trying to develop profits off of their platform, so they would basically broadcast anything that they would think that would generate profit for them. And it got into the point when social media became the norm and the preferred source of information. It started to allow fake news to manifest itself on its platform. So it's kind of going back to where it used to be, where national media was. A lot of what's going on today, it's like we're moving backwards rather than I'm talking about in the U.S. society, in the country in itself. I think the majority of the influences in the country and all these movements and very movements that really aren't very progressive, even though they call themselves progressive. If they were progressive, then they would include everybody within their platform, and the population in the country would have been okay, and they would have accepted those kinds of changes and evolution within the society. But fortunately, it's like you hear things that are just being force-fed down your throat, and no one's benefiting from it. If nothing else, it's offending a lot of people. It's making people frustrated. Opening up old wounds. It's a lot of things that are I think as a society we've gotten too familiar with things that are irrelevant, asinine issues, very stupid issues that really doesn't make anybody any smarter. If nothing else, it kind of keeps people stuck on stupid, in my opinion. And I'm just voicing my thoughts. I know some of our followers had basically voiced their opinion as well, and they seem to agree with that. We need to find a way, a platform, a message, a new, fresh idea, new concept that will help propel our society, the American public, towards a much more optimum level of development and social discourse. But unfortunately, majority of the national news doesn't really allow independent people, independent thinkers, or people like me that have a very different take I mean, I travel in various parts of the world. Majority of my background is economic development and capacity building. I was a former Peace Corps volunteer, and in a country such as Romania that had just ascended into the European Union. So when Romania joined the EU, they needed people that have had background in economic development, because prior to 2007, before they ascended into the EU, they didn't really get a whole lot of support from anybody. So with that said, let me check to make sure how we're doing with time. Okay, so anyway, when I was in the Peace Corps, I ended up working with various economic engines in Eastern Europe, not just in one country, because they were collaborating with other countries and economic development institutions throughout the Southeast European corridor. So I ended up talking to some decision makers and a lot of people that are heavily vested in trying to advance their economic development stages and find resources that weren't available to them before. And guess what? Everybody basically, turned to the evolution of the marketplace within the technological advancement, and they, wanted to know about the utilization of social media. And so I talked to them about face economics, and I told them, you know what? In the past, societies have been governed by the lack of distribution of information. The majority of the information back then were privileged information to people that can afford it. Today, that's not the case anymore. Anyone that is willing to learn and want to adapt to the changes within the marketplace are available and able to get those resources online. Even today, I'm able to basically talk about my ideas and thoughts and share it with my community and followers, because of social media and various platforms that are now being utilized throughout the world. And I think in emerging and frontier markets, these are countries that are developing. There's a significant evolution of the capacity of the marketplace. Before, it's just predominantly the people that were able to advance were coming from wealthy or elite families. Now, if you're willing to learn and utilize technology, you can use your smartphone to start a business. Imagine that, just a smartphone. But it's never been thought about before. 30, 40 years ago, this is it wasn't such a game changer type of marketplace in terms of the evolution of the marketplace and the technological advancement that is available to just any person, regular person. So I thought I'd just kind of talk about some of these things that are happening. And I think we need to focus on capacity building more as a society. Even the people that are rioting out in the streets, majority of them are rioting because they feel that they've been left out. A lot of them feel as if they haven't gotten the chance or the opportunity to advance. A lot of them feel as if they've been robbed, and just because they, perhaps they didn't get access to the relevant information or material in order for them to advance and consider, propelling themselves into a much more competitive type of individual in terms of the competitiveness in the marketplace, to be able to advance their skill set, talents, education, so that they can compete within the marketplace. And I think that's, relatively the issue with a lot of the people that are disenfranchised and all these social movements that are talking about, discrepancies and various conditions that they could have help them advance, but they didn't have access to back then. But I think today, especially in the year 2020, regardless, there's a pandemic going on, and yes, there's been a lockdown that's been ongoing since March